Foxy Stars, your girl Foxy, and I'm back with Choosing Joy. So I told you it was 4 parts to this book, so this is part 2, and it has 5 sections to it. So let's get into it. And this section is called Learn from Your Past. The secret of change is to focus all your energy not fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates said that. Our past can be akin to an unwanted house guest. We can't wait for them to leave, only to find years later that we're still cleaning up their mess. Our past may be unique, but unwanted memories pester us all. We're not able to alter what happened, but we can change the impact it has on the present and future. However, changing our perception of the past doesn't mean we need to rip out the roots and forget who we are and what we experienced. Instead, the strategy adopted here is to identify the dead branches of our past and saw them off so we can grow. The habit advantage. Our past behaviors can be relived in the present through our habits. Habits are automatic behaviors that we execute without even thinking, whether it's checking our phones first thing in the morning or putting our shoes on before we leave the house. Habits are ingrained over time and account for 40% of our daily activities. While some habits may enhance happiness, others can create a cycle of unhappiness that we struggle to break. Perhaps it's secretly eating to relive sadness or staying up too late to watch TV to reclaim time. Regardless of our individual vice, these small unhelpful habits share the ability to elicit momentary pleasure followed by feeling of regret, shame, and general unhappiness. Part of letting go of the past involves dissolving past habits that no longer serve us. This change doesn't require an overhaul of our lives. In fact, just a bit of tweaking here and there can have a significant impact. Making your habits work for you. Habits remove the effective choice from life because we perform them without thinking. For instance, we rarely sit on a sofa debating if we should put our shoes on before we leave the house. We just automatically do it. Our habits enable our brains to conserve energy so we can focus on what matters most and what's more, because good and bad habits are formed in the same way. We can use them to work for us and not against us. To do this, we need to understand the science of how habits are formed. Habits have a 3-part formula: cue, behavior, and reward. Think about when you brush your teeth at night as an example. Your cue is bedtime. The behavior is brushing your teeth, and the reward is a clean feeling. By understanding this formula, research has shown we can work with it to shift our focus towards automatic habits that make us happy at any age. Be patient. Changing a habit takes time. Studies suggest we can take anywhere between 18 and 254 days to form a new habit. The key to change is repetitions. The more you repeat the desired new behavior, the more your neurons will fire and rewire to replace the old pattern of behavior. Over time, your desired behavior will become a habit, making it more effortless and automatic. Science of Bliss time. As James Clear notes in his book, Automatic Habits, the difference a tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. Here's how the math works out. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you will end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Our ability to change our past habits and develop healthier and happier habits can have an enormous impact on our well-being. As our desired behaviors, like going for a run after work or meditating in the morning, becomes automatic, happiness flows with greater ease. And while this all sounds simple, the reality is that creating and breaking habits can be sometimes something we struggle to do, but research has shown a few simple strategies that can help us. Firstly, it's essential to start small. As research shows, small changes are more effective to our daily routine than elaborate changes. Secondly, consider how you could habit stack. Habit stacking involves using existing habits to create more positive ones. For instance, I drink coffee first thing in the morning and use this time to do my journal routine. Other examples might include walking on a treadmill while watching your favorite show or doing some push-ups while running a bath. Thirdly, pay attention to your environmental cues. Research demonstrates that environmental cues are the triggers for our habits. Therefore, it's crucial to set up the right environment for yourself. So that might be putting a gym bag at the front door, replacing the wine in the fridge with a soft drink. These cues make it easier to interrupt your pattern loops and build new ones. Okay, Foxy Stars, we got to exercise. Change your past habits. Changing unhelpful habits we accumulate in the past requires awareness and repetition. Here's a useful exercise to start the process of choosing happier habits. Write down the habit you want to create or change. Be specific and start small. Write down a cue that will prompt the behavior. For example, it's lunchtime, so it's time to go for a walk. Write down the reward you would give yourself. For example, listening to your favorite music or podcast. Challenge yourself to complete your new habit every day for the next 7 days. New podcast, Foxy and Family. Okay. Favorite podcast, Foxy and Family. Letting go of past anger. Anybody can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree at the right time and for the right purpose in the right way, that is not within everybody's power. It is not easy. Aristotle said that. Anger from the past can be an unwelcome travel companion on our journey through life. Silently lingering by our side, anger waits for its trigger to spark an emotional inferno in our present. I'm certainly no stranger to hauling anger from past into my present. Indeed, I felt anger so strong that just a simple mention of a person's name had been enough to flick a switch. Anger can set our hearts racing and cloud our judgment, sending anger words spewing from our mouth. Memories of our perceived mistreatment seems to flood back like it happened yesterday. And often once our anger has been released, regret over how we responded follows. In those moments of fury, we can feel almost powerless to stop it. It's like an anger gremlin of the past has hijacked our level-headed brain and taken up an unwelcome residence in our mind. But what exactly is happening in your brain when you get angry? How do you let go of your anger from the past? Anger is a universal emotion. Firstly, we should recognize the feeling anger doesn't automatically categorize you as a bad person. Anger is a common and natural human emotion that our brains are hand-wired to experience. Indeed, sometimes outrage isn't destructive and can create positive change in politics and readdressing inner equality. Anger is a primitive feeling also experienced by animals, occurring when a perceived threat to you or another person is detected. While anger is natural, left unchecked, it can destroy relationships and careers and leave you with feelings of sincere regret. And although we each have our specific triggers, people technically feel angry when events unfold unexpectedly or people respond in ways that don't match our expectations of how they ought to behave. As Hannah Devlin, the Guardian Science correspondent, writes, we are constantly, often subconsciously, weighing up what we expect to happen in any situation. We expect to happen in any situation Nothing that angers occurs when there is a mismatch between what we learn to expect and the hand we're dealt. Anger and happiness. You don't need to be an expert to grasp that anger can damage our happiness, but don't get angry at yourself for being angry. The key to minimizing the harmful impact anger has on us is to understand and work with this natural survival response. If you ever recall an angry outburst about the past and thoughts, I just couldn't seem to help it. You got a small almond-shaped part of your brain called the, okay, Foxy Stars, amygdala, to thank you for your lack of perceived control. Anger is a common and natural human experience that our brains are hardwired to experience. The amygdala is part of the old operating mechanism of our brain associated with generating the emotions of anger, and neuroscientists have recently discovered it has ultra-fast brain responses. It's this lightning fast response that causes our reactions to feel automatic or outside of our voluntary control. If this wasn't enough, one activated the amygdala cuts off the neural pathways to the rationalized, logical, and empathetic part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. This reaction causes your attention to narrow as you struggle to see the other person's point of view. Though understanding this, we can take comfort in two things. Firstly, the narrow-minded, out-of-control, angry response is not us. It's just a quick reaction time of our amygdala. I'm going to spell this word for you guys so y'all can figure it out because I'm having a hard time pronouncing it. And I'm not a doctor or a science major. amygdala. And secondly, we have all the resources we need to manage our anger from the past. We just need a better understanding of how to assess them. Happy tip. Venting doesn't help your anger, according to psychologists. Getting it off your chest or punching a pillow is not the best way to process anger. Indeed, it can increase feeling of anger, with one study showing that doing nothing at all was more effective as resolving anger than venting. Whew. All right, Foxy Stars, I'll be right back. Water break. Okay, guys, I'm back. You know, had to get my little water break because I forgot to bring my water to my office and wherever I do this reading, where I do my little podcast or YouTube channel. I don't know what it is. Okay, so let's get back into the book. So when I left off, okay, guys, I'm getting a little comfortable. Okay, there we go. When I left off, we have an exercise to do, managing anger for happiness. If you find yourself getting frustrated, agitated, beeping your horn in traffic, or uncontrollably venting, here are some tips to help bring a sense of calm and manage your anger. Understand your triggers. Keep an anger journal of your triggers can help you bring awareness of what triggers your anger or frustration. Logging your triggers can help you develop effective strategies to increase control of your trigger rather than allow them to control you. Triggers might include feeling criticized, experience other people not listening or talking over you, or blame yourself when you make a mistake. Practice and mindfulness. When you feel triggered, use mindfulness techniques to help get you out of the fight or flight instance of the, okay, here's that word again, amygdala. amygdala. You guys can figure that one out. And that says the rational prefrontal cortex. You can do this by slowing down and mindfully focusing on your breath. Let's go. Psychotherapists have concluded that anger is not fully resolved until a conscious decision is made to let go. Today starts the process of letting go of what happened and usher in acceptance that no amount of anger will change or make you feel better about the past. The Great Unlearning. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. We come into the world with an essence, a soul, a unique image that's seeking to realize its purpose. The Greeks call us our daimon. The acorn theory. The Greeks call this our daimon. The Romans, our genius, and psychologist James Hillman referred to this as an acorn theory. In his work, Hillman contends that we come into the world for a reason. Each of us as a bundle of cells that contains a dazzling essence of unique potential. He refers to the essence as an acorn and believes that within us we each had a calling to be lived. Hillman's work stressed the importance of returning to our essence, allowing our tiny acorns of potential to grow into large oaks. The problem is our essence of bright and powerful potential is hard to hold and nourish in our young, untrained hands. We rely on those around us in our formative years to help develop the skills to nurture our tiny seeds of unique potential. However, adults in our lives often have their ideas of what crafts we should master. And so begins the process of our internal split, where we take the beautiful and whole, untapped potential of ourselves and divide into parts to please others. We bring the parts of us people value closer to the surface and bury the parts that make us feel like a burden. Instead of learning to feel safe to be who we are, we learn only it's safe to be who others need us to be. It's through returning to our essence and nurturing our acorn that we begin to see the depth of who we truly are. And to do this, we need to unlearn some of the conditions we have been taught. Unlearning happiness. This book is getting pretty deep, Foxy Stars. Yes, it is. A significant part of our journey in healing our past is unlearning. That's our worthiness of love, and belonging is not conditional. Our worth is not dependent on our grades, measured by our success, or quantified by how amicable we are. We do not have to be more or less of anything to be worthy. We exist, and that's enough. We are worthy of love and belonging just as we are. When we return to our essence, we become whole and experience the freedom to allow ourselves to be deeply seen for who we are. The journey of self-worth brings with it the realization that we're not lost or broken, nor do we need to find ourselves, as if our true selves was hiding behind a bush in a bizarre game of hide and seek. The treasure we've been searching for all along is there. It's just buried. It's resting beneath the limiting belief that we're not good enough. It's under the social conditioning of fear and people-pleasing. As we begin to remove the conditioning put there by others, we return to the essence of our presence that rests patiently at our core. We come home to who we are, keep our fingers crossed close to our souls, evolving to who we were meant to be, and deepening the meaning in our lives. This departure from our past involves a process that psychologists refer to as reparenting. Reparenting is where we learn to become the mother of all our parts, giving ourselves what we needed but didn't receive as children. It's through reparenting that we create safe space so that we as adults can teach ourselves how to hold our essence and live authentic, purposeful life. This process of unlearning and returning to what we truly are and part of development of the evolving self. As psychologist Carl Jung writes, thoroughly unprepared, we take the step into the afternoon of life. Worse still, we take this step with the false presumption suppositions that our truths and ideas will serve us as hetero. But we cannot live in the afternoon of life according to the program of life morning. In my personal experience, a deep inner peace paves the road for the life you feel called to live, rather than the one you taught to reside in. The afternoon ushers in a new chapter of which you are the author. The guardian of your essence is inner happiness from the purest form. Okay, guys, we got to exercise. Should do a lot of exercise in this book. Self-reparenting. Self-reparenting, becoming a mother of all your aspects, nurturing your inner child, and providing yourself with the words to a younger version of yourself needed to be heard. As you move through these processes, try to reduce any judgment or blame towards your parents or guardians. They often did the best with the skills they had. Awareness. Bring awareness to the recurring patterns that are causing problems in your life. This can be a lack of boundaries, conflict in relationships, not encouraging yourself to achieve what you are capable of, any number of others issues. Unravel. Once you can observe your external behavior, follow the thread back to the internal belief you hold that is causing these patterns to manifest. For example, people will leave me if I say no. You may find it helpful to examine how you learned this belief. Think back to when you were taught at school or how this belief appeared at home. Replace. Now that you can see this belief was learned, it's time to reparent this aspect of yourself. Ask yourself, what's more empowering to believe? How can you make it safe for that part of you to express how you feel free? What do you wish you would have been taught as a child that you can learn now? Reveal. Gradually put this new belief into practice by saying no to others. Notice how listless this intentionally feels uncomfortable. It is more authentically aligned to who you are and how you feel. Ooh, this book is getting deep. Okay, Foxy Stars, that was one of our exercises. Okay, so the next part is out with the old, in with the new. Firing and wiring new beliefs. The lack of beliefs in our potential can cause a flurry of negative feelings, including unhappiness, anxiety, and frustration. Whether we're grown to believe we can't speak in public, make new friends easily, be healthy, manage money, or find love, our beliefs can place unhelpful limits on our lives and happiness. However, psychologists have found that it's possible to diminish our can't-do attitude and choose more empowering beliefs that can positively influence our present and shape our future. Belief linking your past, present, and future. Psychologists have found we use past memories to formulate belief about our future performance. Research has found that even if we're never completed the task before, the level of confidence in our ability will be shaped by how well we perceive our performances in a similar situation. Well, this could lead to growing levels of confidence in tasks we see ourselves to be good at. It can have a devastating impact on areas we perceive ourselves to be failing in. This is because every time we perform the task we can't do, we approach it with self-doubt, which strengthens our limiting thought pattern. In the long term, this may eventually lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy. However, the good news in our beliefs are simply patterns of thinking that either serve or limit us in life. We can change them. Indeed, changing belief systems by building new connections in our brain is now a widely accepted practice in interventions such as cognitive behavioral therapy and neuro-linguistic programming. Your girl got it. Okay, we have another science of bliss. As Kathleen Turner, a neuroscientist at Oxford University, explained, Beliefs are mental objects in the sense that they are embedded in the brain. If you challenge them by contradictions or just by cutting them off from the stimulant that you make you think about them, then you are going to weaken slightly. If that is combined with a very strong reinforcement of new belief, then you're going to get a shift in emphasis from one to the other. Beliefs in happiness. Our limiting beliefs act like an invisible fence separating the life we have from the life we desire. While these beliefs once protected us from harm, they can now have an adverse effect on our lives. We might feel stuck or frustrated, and we may even alter our behavior to avoid certain situations. While merely believing we can do something won't automatically make us better at it, it does enable us to act. In short, we believe we are capable of change and change can occur, but this requires more than motivational self-talk. In order to really change our limiting belief, we need to challenge them, and that requires action. If you imagine moving towards something you can't do, you'll notice a rise in discomfort and perhaps an increase in negative self-talk. That's where compassion comes in to help gives us the little push we need to overcome the hurdles of our limiting beliefs. Dr. Kristen Nerf in an interview with the New York Times explains self-compassion is treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and concern you show a loved one. Accepting without judgment that we are flawed and imperfect humans builds our resilience and enables us to accept criticism, both vital qualities and to have when we step out of our comfort zone. Okay, Foxy Stars, we're getting there. We're getting there. Exercise. So, we're almost done with this part of the book, and then I will pick it back up. Okay, we're almost done. So bear with me. I know it's a little long, and I don't like to be here long, but I thought this was very important, and I'm really enjoying this. So, we have an exercise, overcoming limited belief. When we seek to overcome our limited belief, cultivating the right level of challenge and compassion is the key. Challenge. Challenging ourselves doesn't have to involve diving off the deep end. Indeed, psychologists use a technique called an active self-mastery to improve the belief in our capabilities. An active self-mastery is breaking big tasks into smaller ones, more achievable parts. As you complete each task, you gradually build up to confidence that you have what it takes. For example, you might start with planning your presentation, then writing it, then practicing alone in your room, and so on. Breaking tasks down help relieve you if you feel overwhelmed, if you gradually integrate your skills and build your self-belief in your capabilities. Compassion. As you challenge yourself, things will go wrong. You'll make mistakes and grow from them. During these times, it's natural to be critical. It's a survival mechanism. Just be gentle and think about the words you would say to a loved one in the same scenario. The freedom of forgiveness. This is the last part of this chapter. If we want to release the hold the past has over our happiness, forgiveness will likely play a pivotal role in our journey. I know it has in mine. Forgiveness for me has been a process without a timeline. It's taken a series of small steps to gradually loosen my connection between what happened in the past and the negative emotion I attached to it. Furthermore, forgiveness facilitates my mental should have, would have, could have, why me, if only scenarios to slowly lose their grip. When we forgive, we no longer need to channel our energy into attempting to fix or undo the past. As we set aside free from the pull of the past, we're able to enjoy the present and create our future with greater ease. But before we start our process of forgiveness, let's clarify what it means. What is forgiveness? Well, it sounds straightforward. Forgiveness can be a confusing concept riddled with misconceptions. It's common to mistake forgiveness as a seal of approval that it was okay for our offender to mistreat us. But forgiveness is not excusing the behavior of the other person. Instead, forgiveness is accepting what did happen as opposed to accepting what happened. Equally, we forgive. It does not always mean we allow that person back into our lives. On contrary, forgiveness often means not only releasing our anger, but also the individuals who caused it. When we choose to start the process of forgiveness, we signal to the world and ourselves that we are stopping the hurt from the past to cause us to suffer in the present and future moments. Far from being a sign of weakness, forgiveness is an act of self-love and strength. Indeed, psychologists have found that opting not to forgive and choosing to harbor feelings of resentment, revenge, and hurt can negatively impact your relationships as well as your physical and mental health. In contrast, the act of forgiveness is associated with higher self-esteem, happier moods, and better relationships. And the good news is you don't need to wait for an apology or an act or atonement to begin the process. Forget, as Oprah Winfrey so beautifully summarized, forgiving is giving up the hope that the past could be any different. It's letting go so the past does not hold you prisoner. Forgiveness is a very personal journey, so when you decide you're ready to embark on it, be extra gentle and compassionate with yourself on the days when emotion of the past feels raw. Remember, forgiveness can take time, but when you finally reach the point of acceptance that the past has happened, you'll be able to let go of the pain and create a space of happiness. Psychologists have shown that forgiveness protects our happiness over time. In a short time, our capacity for happiness increases because we minimize the feeling of negative emotions. In the long term, researchers found that we experience more personal growth if we think and feel about the experience with more positive perspective. Okay, we got an exercise and we're almost done. This exercise is designed to open you up and start the journey to forgive. It's ideal for those struggling to verbalize their pain. Step 1, acknowledge the pain. When someone has hurt us, there may be words that we feel we can't say to them, particularly if they're our parents or loved ones. A useful way to acknowledge your pain is to write a letter to them that you'll never send and no one will ever read. Writing a letter gives you space to be completely honest. As you write without judgment, you'll bring recognition to the pain caused. Step 2, a different perspective. Next, write a second letter, this time responding if you are the person that you hurt. It could be your mom, dad, a friend, partner, or relative. As you write the letter, imagine being with them and writing a reply from their perspective about what happened. Writing from a different perspective is proven to help build empathy and emotion show to support the process of forgiveness. Step 3, create a positive affirmation. Writing a positive affirmation helps signal a new beginning. It could be, I am worthy of releasing my past and feeling the praise of forgiveness. Or, I am willing to forgive and let the past go. Write your affirmation down and put it up as a visual reminder that the past is behind you. This could be placing it on a post-it note on your mirror or create a screensaver on your phone. As you affirm and practice your forgiveness through the thoughts, you'll generally let go of the past grudges and grievances. Okay, Foxy Stars, I do believe I will stop there and then I will continue on with the next segment. It's a pretty good book so far, and I do really hope that you guys are enjoying this. I'm getting so much out of this book. Okay, so I got one more part, then I'm done for real. 5 ways to soothe your past. 1, turn anger to passion and create positive change. 2, forgive yourself for past mistakes. 3, revisit the good bits of your past. 4, learn from the past. 5, it's okay not to be okay. And with that being said, Foxy Stars, I will bid you a good night. As I always say, go to sleep, have rainbows and unicorn dreams, and wake up with a smile and all the happiness that the earth and your life and the stars may bring to you. And as always, from my family to yours, Foxy Stars, I love you. And thank you for tuning in and taking this little journey with me. And to all my new subscribers, thank you. I really appreciate you guys. And to my returning ones, I really appreciate you too. So with that being said, good night, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Love, Foxy. Bye.